Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Bill Spencer, Senior Director on Microsoft Teams, and I'm excited today to have Matthias Dilger from Remind, who will be showing the integration of Remind and Microsoft Teams. Take it away, Matthias.
Thank you very much, Bill. Very excited to be here. Today, I will show you about my Remind Teams app. The main goal of this app is to reduce cognitive load by implementing reminders as natively as possible inside Microsoft Teams. So first off, what is cognitive load? It means you're overloading your working memory with tasks. This is actually a scientific term, cognitive load, and it has been studied for the last 40 years or so. You probably noticed it at some point yourself when you were going home after a long workday and you just got home and you found, okay, I forgot to send that important email at work. I forgot to do this. I should have done that. This is called cognitive load or cognitive overload. And the problem with this is it has negative impact on your decision making, your productivity, and your task completion rate because your working memory, it's not your short-term memory, working memory is limited. And one possible solution for this problem is offloading that cognitive load with reminders. As you know, the work life has changed quite a bit in the last few years. We're now a distributed workforce. There has been hybrid work, more flexible work days, people working from home. And the result is that there has been more cognitive load than ever before. I actually noticed that myself early 2020 when I was working in a distributed project between Europe and Asia. And we had a lot of tasks regarding software development falling through the cracks. And this was partially motivation for creating Remind. The idea with Remind is you set the reminders where the work happens. That means inside Teams. Remind is not an external SaaS that has surfaces inside Teams. Remind only lives in Teams. And with setting reminders in Teams where the work happens, you have cognitive offload, which means you set the reminder once, you set a recurring reminder, and you don't have to think about it anymore, which improves your productivity. And going from early 2020 until now, I now have around 250,000 monthly active users around the world. And now I would like to jump into the demo part. If you have any questions, please feel free to just ask. There's also a Q&A part at the end of the presentation, so you can also wait until then, whichever way you prefer. Right, first off, let me show you the installation. The installation of Remind is incredibly simple. You can just play along if you would like. You can search for Remind in the App Store, and you will have an Add button here. I have an Open button because I already have it installed. You don't need to give it any permissions. You can just start off right away. So it's incredibly simple, and you can get value from the app right after installation. After you install it, you will get the welcome message. Agnes is my Teams test user personality. You can take the tour, which will show you a few examples of how to use the app. And then you're already ready to set your first reminder. Now, Remind has a few different parts. I will start with a bot chat. Bot chat is surprisingly popular with most people. I guess it's because it works very well on mobile. So for example, we can set a reminder by just typing it out. Let's say I need to call Dave on Friday regarding the license discount. For the purpose of this demo, I'm assuming the persona of a software developer working in a software company. Remind works in a lot of different industries, but I'll stick to that one for this demo. So let's say I want to have the reminder on Friday, 10 a.m. Then the bot will confirm your reminder that you just set. You can delete it, you can edit it if you made a mistake. And once the reminder occurs, you get a notification, of course, from Teams. And It looks like this. You can mark the reminder as complete, you can delete it, you can edit it and set a new one, or you can snooze it. So for example, you have these predefined timeframes, or you can set a custom time with a custom date where you would like the reminder to reoccur. So that's a one-off reminder, right? It only occurs once. But you can also use the bot chat to set recurring reminders. So for example, what if I want to check in with a contractor regarding a project every Friday at 10 a.m. Let's say her name is Anna. So I can just type my bot command and I will get the confirmation again. Looks very similar to the one above. Remind supports a lot of different time formats and date formats and commands. You can have recurring reminders on specific days of the week. You can have recurring reminders at the beginning or the end of the month, for example, or a specific day of the month. You can have reminders every year, for example, for birthdays or anniversaries. And all the formats are, as the syntax is described here in the help tab at the top. If you want to manage your reminders, you can use the view reminders button or the list command, it's the bot command here. You can see your upcoming, your recurring reminders here. You can complete, delete, edit them. You can pause your recurring reminders if you want to take a break from them. And you can set a new reminder here. So all the steps that I've just shown are in the bot chat, are very well suited for mobile users. I have a lot of mobile users who mainly use the app by chatting with it. If you're on desktop, you might want to use the tab, the reminders tab up here, which is more user-friendly. Again, you see your reminders. You can manage them here. For example, you can delete a reminder. You can filter them, and you can change your settings. For example, if you don't set a time for a reminder, the app will use a default start of workday time. So some users, for example, they work shift work and they start to work at 10 p.m. So they set their start of workday to 10 p.m. So they don't have to set that time all the time. Now, here is the set a reminder UI, which is very powerful. I will go through it. There are certain formatting options available for your reminder. So let's say I want to set a recurring reminder that reminds me to fill out my worksheet. And I can link, this should be probably a SharePoint URL, but I will just enter this one for now. I can set the date and the time for a one-off reminder, or I can set a recurring reminder. I can have it reoccur every day. I can reoccur every week. So let's say I want to have it occur on Tuesday and Fridays. I can have it reoccur every other week, every month even. There are a lot of different options here. You can, on the first weekday, second to last weekday, if you change the day up here, these options also change. Or you can have it reoccur every year, or you can have a custom interval where you say, okay, I say every 6 days, for example. For this example, let's stick with every Tuesday and Friday at 10 a.m. And I want it to start from not 1st of March, but let's say starting from today. Right, my user interface refreshes and I can see my reminder here. So these parts are all setting reminders for yourself. But what is obviously much more powerful is setting reminders in group chats, channels, or meeting chats. It's very easy to install. You can switch to a channel, press the button on top, add remind. And you can see a very similar UI to the one that I've just shown. You can filter, you can set a reminder. Here there are slight differences. because it's a channel, I can choose to announce the reminder or not. So I can set a silent reminder. I can have the reminder occur in a new conversation, because in channels you have replies and conversation starters. So the reminder can both occur as a reply, or it can start a new conversation every time it occurs. So let's, for example, say, set a reminder for my software developer team. And let's ask the team, what are you working on? Oh, what are you working on? What are your blockers? So you can see some basic formatting right here. I want this reminder to, reoccur every week on Monday at 9 a.m. I want to start a new conversation so that my teammates can post replies to it, and I want the reminder to be announced. If I only want to remind certain users inside the channel and have the reminder be sent directly to them, I can have enable this option here below. Right, so my UI refreshes, I can see the next occurrence. And the announcement has been posted to the channel. When the reminder occurs, it will look like this. And here you can see the occurrence. And my teammates can post the replies, what they're working on, what are their blockers. So that's a very easy way to have like basic, I would say, project management functionality inside Teams. And of course, if I set this reminder once, for example, and I don't need to think about it anymore, it makes my life much easier. Another example is adding the app to meeting chats. For example, I have a weekly stand-up where we do things like code reviews or discuss certain issues. And I have a regular meeting with my people. Just close that. Maybe this will be better. Right, the UI is the same. And 15 minutes before the start of the meeting, I have a recurring reminder which asks the team to prepare certain deliverables, certain items. This makes sure that my team comes to the meeting prepared and they're accountable. In this example, I've also set a custom time zone because my team is based in India. So I can change my time zone here and have the reminder occur before every meeting. Apart from these features that I've shown, there's another very popular feature, which is setting reminders on messages. So for example, a message occurs in a channel. So I've asked my team, what is the latest status of the requirement gathering process? And Chris says he will send out an update. Okay, now I don't want to keep that in the back of my mind, so I can set a reminder on this by hovering over it. I can set again one of the predefined times. This 9 a.m. comes from my settings, so if I change the default start time of my workday, this time will also change. Or I can say set a custom date and time. It's probably not a good idea at that time. And I can say double check with Chris, add a note, and set the reminder for myself. This feature is very popular on mobile because what happens is that people are out of office, they see an important message and they just set a reminder on it for the next working day. Another feature that the app has, which some users love, is you can mention the bot here as well. You can of course also have typed reminders here in the channel as well, just as I've shown before. Please post update, let's say Monday at 10 a.m. So you can use the typed reminders in channels, group chats, and meeting chats as well. And the other thing I wanted to mention is you can have a reminder on a conversation by mentioning remind and adding myself. So this is a bit more aggressive. So if you want Chris to know that you are watching him, you can use this command. This is very popular with a couple of users. And one thing I forgot to mention is Remind is MetaOS enabled, which means you can load this tab here in Outlook if you're using the beta version. I think it's not in the final version yet. I don't have it open right now, but you can, if you're in Outlook and you press the apps button on the left, you should see Remind, and then you can add this tab. This has the advantage that if you receive a lot of email with deadline items or to-dos, you can set your Teams reminders right inside Outlook, so you don't have to switch back and forth. And that concludes the demo part. Bill, should we answer some questions?
We have several questions. Sean asks, is there an option to store the data somewhere other than the Netherlands?
Right now, no. I'm working on that though, because I think also in the future this request will become more often. The US for US customers would be an obvious choice, but right now it's Netherlands only, yes.
Lee asks, can you describe how subscription works and give us a sense on pricing?
Yeah, so Remind implements Teams SaaS, so you can subscribe right through Teams. You can subscribe per month or per year. There's also a 30-day free trial. And the cost is on a per user basis, so you can pay per month or per year. Per year, it's $20 per user per year right now.
Okay. Knock asks, can the reminder be integrated into Planner?
I have that on my to-do list. Right now, it doesn't work, unfortunately, but my aim is to enable that, yeah.
Lee asks, can attachments be added to the reminder? And if so, which formats?
Yeah, my goal is to have SharePoint, basically links that will be attached to the reminder. It's a bit tricky because the adaptive card in Teams don't support a lot of different documents that you can add, but I have that as a high priority to do item on my list. Yeah.
Yeah. And how do the reminders work if someone is not a subscriber?
Yeah, the app currently has a very basic free tier, so you can set a certain amount of reminders by just adding the app without subscribing. If you go over a certain limit, the app will ask you to subscribe. So it's a freemium product right now. In the future, all of these features that I mentioned, they will probably be in the paid version only. So users will have the option to start a free trial and try all these features. And if they don't subscribe, they will drop back to the very basic free functionality, or they can subscribe to keep these features.
Great. And can you describe the data residency? How is the data protected?
Yeah, data is stored in the West Azure data center in the Netherlands. So it's encrypted at rest and encrypted in transit. I'm also, of course, looking at the M365 certification. I also have that on my list, but I've not gotten around to getting certified yet.
Well, Matthias, I think this is a great application, something that as a manager, I would love to start using on my team, because currently, right now, I have to do this myself. So this is super helpful to be able to set it up once and then, have a cadence around recurring meetings and preparation for various activities and have the application remind people on the team. So it's not me, perhaps crossing the line as a micromanager or something along those lines.
Yeah, exactly. What people actually like about the app is that it's not their user personality reminding people, but it's a third party. So it kind of takes the pressure away of saying, okay, this is not Bill sending the reminder, it's Remind sending the reminder.
That's
Which is
right.
surprisingly an important aspect that I haven't thought about before. Yeah, if there are no more questions,
There
I
is
would
one
like.
other question.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
If I'm a full subscriber and say
Right.
one of my team isn't a subscriber at all, does the
Yeah.
reminder not work for that individual?
No, Remind subscription is about setting reminders. So obviously, if you're in a channel with 100 users, everybody will see the reminder. Um, but these other users that are not subscribed, they need to obey the limit of the free tier, right? So they need to stay inside
Right.
the free tier. But yeah, the subscription is about setting reminders,
Oh,
not
so
consuming.
this is actually very cost effective, because if as a manager, in a sense, it is the person creating the reminders that is paying for the subscription.
Correct.
Everyone
Correct.
else is the recipient of the reminder.
Correct. Yes. So you can have, if your organization or your team, if you're the only one setting reminders, one subscription for you would be enough. Yes.
Yeah. Well, seeing no additional questions, I just want to thank you. The best part of my job is working with entrepreneurs like yourself who are coming up with innovative ideas and integrating them into teams. And this is a brilliant solution for a problem I would imagine most managers struggle with, and that is how to create a cadence of preparation around activities and getting the whole team on board without overdoing it. And I really like the approach you've taken, and I think this is a product that everyone should be considering.
Thank you very much, Bill. Yeah, I appreciate it. I would just like to go through a few more slides
Oh,
before we
please
go.
do.
So there are certain user personas that are more dominant in my user base. As I said, there are more than 250,000 monthly active users, but most users work either in IT, like the user persona that I mentioned in my demo. A lot of them will also work in finance and accounting. I have a lot of users in health, especially NHS in the UK is a very big user of my app. They use it for things like their admin or also for compliance tasks regarding the handling of certain medical procedures. And my favorite use case is logistics, though. I have one customer who uses it basically as a route planning for their logistics field, people in the field. So how it works is they're delivering pharmaceuticals, so medicine, to pharmacies, and they set a reminder and post a certain route or a certain uh, target that the people should deliver pharmaceuticals to, and then users can post a reply to say, I take the route, or this is my district. And then when they're done, they can mark it as completed. And then the company actually monitors the performance, the time between reminder occurrence and when was it marked as completed. And this is like one of their main KPIs.
Makes sense.
Here is one of those user feedbacks. I copied it from AppSource. This is Divan from South Africa. He's working in a payments company, and he manages their support desk. So he has a big, he calls it contact center with around 13 people. And what I like about this review is because he is hitting all my sweet spots basically. He says it's easy to deploy and it's easy to use. And what they use it for mainly is um, their incident management and their shift system that they use. So when one shift in the contact center takes over, they have all the reminders from the previous shift about certain high priority items. And then these reminders occur regularly or they occur at a specific time. And he mentions that this saves him so much time. And before they had like a very complicated management solution. And what he likes most about it is that it's so integrated into teams and it's very low friction. Yeah, some of the big users, like I mentioned, is NHS. Microsoft is probably the biggest user of my app. DHL and PricewaterhouseCoopers, they are probably the biggest tenants using the app right now. And that brings me to the end of my presentation.
Thank you very much. And I see the contact there is hello@teamsreminder.app. So
Correct,
I do
yeah.
have one more question from Knock, and that is, can you customize the reminder in a checklist format for targeted users to ensure they do all the items requested?
Yeah, so the reminder, as I showed, there is you can format the reminder as a numbered list. But if I understand correctly, you would like to have a reminder which has like sub items, and then these sub items can be marked as complete separately. Is that correct?
Knock, if you'd like to come off, you could clarify your question.
Scenario that you had suggested was, hey, for NHS, it was like, hey, you need to, or, what, compliance. There are 3 trainings that need to be completed. Here's the reminder, and those 3 are listed, and then, people can mark all of 3 complete, or only 1 complete, or 2 complete, right? That's one,
Right.
that's your scenario. And then Bill's is actually another use case of more of a, project management view of, hey, do the 3 of you, did you all do the parts that were required for this project?
Right, right. So how it works right now is you would probably send separate reminders to them, and they could
Okay.
mark each project as completed. You can also, if you set the reminder, there's a setting that you get a notification the moment they mark it as completed, or you can turn that off. So you have a certain workflow there. Right now, what doesn't work is having completion items inside a single reminder. So you would need to have separate ones right now.
Okay.
Yep.
And then another question, is there a reporting or a dashboard view on the status of the completion of the reminders?
I'm working on it. The dashboard view is basically my top priority item. I also have certain other features like where you can tag or have a hashtag basically for reminders, and they fall into certain buckets, and then have a dashboard on top of that, so you can see how many reminders you have in a bucket and how they've been completed or not and how long it took. But that's not released yet.
Well, it's already a very feature-rich product, and yet simple in the sense that it's a straightforward scenario, and it's something I'm going to start using for my team because it's really a way to organize work and to bring the whole team together with visibility across the team. And it, as someone who'd be setting up the reminders, I think it would make me more organized. My team would appreciate the fact that I'd be thinking in advance and setting up a recurring cadence for preparation around key activities. So thank you so much, Matthias. This is a wonderful integration in Teams, and I really enjoyed the presentation today.
Thank you very much, Bill, and looking forward to your feedback. I love feedback from my users. Appreciate it.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.